Hello, hello.
Hey, hey,
What's up, man?
nothing much. How does my picture look right now?
Yeah, it looks fine. The lighting looks a little different, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think something's weird with my camera. I'm the one having tech problems today, but partly it's because I also just got I got the Elgato prompter, which is
Cool.
like are you familiar with that thing?
Yeah, it's got. Is it like you have your face next to your phone with your prompts words?
No, so it's like a screen mirror combination where my camera is behind the mirror. So like right now I'm looking at a screen, but the camera is behind the screen. So it looks like I'm looking right at you.
Weird. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little different. You might have to tweak it. But if you didn't say anything, I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
just look a
mainly
little
for,
pale. It looks like you got to get in the sun.
well, that's also true, but yeah, it's mainly for like filming VSLs and stuff where I can put the script on screen and then I can just like sit here and basically like read it
Yeah.
and then I don't have to like read it, memorize the line, look here, back
Yeah, yeah,
forth.
yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
But for
Yeah.
calls too, I think it's kind of interesting. I did another podcast with another buddy from my AI creator group, and he had it, and it was like I was looking this way, but he was looking directly at the camera. I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, do you like that? See, I kind of like the look off to the side a little bit. I like that your angle's like a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But that's personal preference. I
We'll
like
see.
it doesn't look like I'm looking at you. You're here.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah. I
like
don't
the
know.
side.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try it for this one. I'm gonna
No, I'm just messing with you. Yeah.
try it, try it this way and
Cool.
see.
What's up this week? What's cracking?
Starting to do more big marketing push, redoing the website, trying to make our first new round of ads, uh, revamping our other product, Cold Scrape, because we had some other people subscribe to that randomly and giving us feedback there. Working on voice more, lots of things.
A lot of product. A lot of product stuff.
A lot of product stuff, but I'll trying to do more marketing. Like my one of the things that we've been trying to do is we're trying to niche down further into who our customer is and what their problems are versus the idea of white labeling and the idea of making money with AI.
Hmm.
And one of those customer profiles essentially is, and it could be a business owner, it could also be an agency that this applies to, but it's people that are overwhelmed with these N8N workflows or these super complicated GHL workflows or like anything that has like these massive spider webbed automation workflows that look super complicated when in reality you're a lot of those things for the use cases that we are talking about are way more complicated than they need to be. And because our system does that really well already, the idea is like, oh, you're trying to sell these complicated end-to-end workflows to a business, but you don't even know how the workflows work or even being able to get them to work. Use our platform instead because it's a lot easier and you can do all the same things mostly for that specific use case. But
Yeah, because a lot of people are using N8N for like some pretty basic shit. It's like to build a white label chatbot that they can end up selling to a customer, to build like a call bot or to build an Instagram bot,
exactly,
and then to reference the company's documentation. It's like, yeah, just use Stammer. It's all right here.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it's easier. That makes sense.
That I think
N8N is overwhelming me too. I see all the videos of it on Instagram. I'm like, fuck, I gotta learn how to do this.
it's I fell into that trap as well.
What do
And it's
you
good
think
for
about it? What's your take on it? Because if anybody knows it or understands it, it's you.
it's really good for extremely complicated things because it has the ability to do those complicated things. But it's not good for the easy things because it overcomplicates the easy things. So, for example, like you said, making a simple AI chatbot with RAG and semantic search and the basics,
Yeah.
that is a pretty complicated workflow to get working because you have to know how all of those different pieces work and fit together.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And that's not that easy. It is a simple and easy use case, but like getting it to work in a simple and easy way is not easy.
Yeah.
Not, you know. But then on the flip side, let's say we want to do a workflow that's like, I want to enter in an Instagram user handle that then goes through and downloads all their content of the last 90 days, then transcribes them, then summarizes them, then rewrites the script for each of them while also pulling the engagement analytics from each video and then putting all of that into a Google Sheet and then making new cards in Notion with those new versions of the scripts. Like all of that might be a super complicated and very niche workflow that somebody wants, and that can be done on a platform like N8N with relative simplicity in the sense that like you just go from step to step and get it to work at each step, and then eventually you get to a point where it either works or it doesn't work, and then you can go from there and you have control over each step to know where it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an actual example that I've been trying to work and get working. And I got most of the way there until I ran into Instagram rate limits for pulling data from Instagram. And it's
Interesting.
and at that point you have two options, whether you use residential proxy switching, which changes the IP address to a bunch of different places randomly, so that way Instagram doesn't flag that you're the same computer pulling the data, or you put in your Instagram handle and you log in to authenticate a session in the background. And there's no shot I'm doing that because that potentially could cause a flag on my account. I'm even worried of the sense that like I have my account on my phone on the same IP address as that bot, where they could be limiting my IP address with all accounts that are associated with that IP. Like that's probably not true or not a thing, but like I'm paranoid enough where, like my Instagram is one of my most valuable assets in life, essentially, and which is weird to say, but it is. But there's no way I'm gonna like test those waters.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think that's also why Instagram made like the group account feature where when you create a new account, it's tied to all your existing accounts. So if you fuck up on one, you fuck up on all of them. So yeah, you probably don't want to mess with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, here's my new beef with AI. Here's
Okay.
here's
Hit
the
me.
here's the shit I hate. So um, we're working on improving our sleep math. I feel like I've been
Yeah.
saying this for weeks on end now, maybe months.
Yeah.
And okay, all right. When you put something in to ChatGPT, I have this like complex formula that I'm giving it, and then I have it example data in a JSON file, and then I have instructions on how to transcript the data and how to make the files communicate with each other. It all looks good in theory, and then you run it through ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, identify the missing links or the things that are wrong, and it gives you like a couple things like, oh, you're almost there, it's almost perfect, and then you make the adjustment, and then you plug it back into Playground, and it doesn't work, and then you go into ChatGPT, and I'm like, this is exactly what you gave me. help me understand why it's not working. And it's like, I know exactly why it's not working. Here are the things that you have to fix. And then you fix it and then run it and it doesn't work. Then I put it back into ChatGPT. I'm like, help me understand why it's not working. And then like, oh, I know exactly why. Here's the answer. And you just go through this loop of ChatGPT being overconfident, telling you knows exactly what the problem is and here's how to fix it, but it's not actually the solution to the problem. And then I tried doing the same thing, and I tried doing it on different language models, so like 4.1 code interpreter. And it's like, oh no, what you're doing doesn't make any sense at all. Like you have to completely change the format for everything. I'm like, fuck me, dude, it's so complicated. Because it's a language model, it doesn't, like, it's not programmed to do math unless you're using code interpreter, but the code interpreter is mixed with a language model. Anyway, I'm probably just not smart enough to figure it out, but this is going to be the death of me.
So it's very similar to how in platforms like Cursor, you prompt it to make a change to your application or your program, and then it will maybe do what you're asking, but then it will also create 5 other issues or problems or bugs by then following your initial instruction.
Yeah.
So then you're going back and spending more time fixing those 5 bugs with other prompts. And on one hand, I understand that that's kind of how these models are right now. And then on the other hand, put the tinfoil hat on conspiracy, like the more queries that you use, the more tokens and the more usage of that platform that you have. So like inherently it's not in the best interest of Cursor to just fix it in the first go, in the first like one shot prompt, because then you don't use as many message credits or whatever it may be. I don't think that's true.
It feels like short-term gain for just individual use and a couple cents. I guess it adds up over a bunch of users, but it's not like
Yeah,
the real usage is going to be people using the application that people build with Cursor.
exactly. And they wouldn't have Cursor lovable these guys wouldn't have the growth metrics that we've seen them have with
If they were intentionally fucking
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a little too tinfoil hatty.
A little, yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's why I preface put my tinfoil on. But
Yeah.
but back to your use case, I think something that might be interesting is try it. Have you tried it on Claude?
No, we're going back to hard coding. It's gonna fucking hard code it in. Good old fashioned code it in
Oh, I
Swift,
see.
baby. That's it.
So that piece, so what you're saying, what you're testing is using AI to create the output, not create the equation.
Correct.
Ah,
Because we have
okay.
the equation, but here's the thing. The equation is so complicated and there's so many what if scenarios that it's pretty difficult to make it function properly being hard coded. That we thought in theory it would be easier to have a language model because they can interpret all of these what if situations and give you the correct output. But the problem is we're calculating time. We're calculating duration based on time of day, based on user time zone. And
Hmm.
those 3 levels are just not computable with ChatGPT. Even
They
if you
are
ask it to
notorious.
do it in sequential order, I guess you already knew this. I'm finding out for the first time.
Yep. Yep.
Fuck
Yeah.
me. It is
It's
not fun.
notorious for that. We're looking at building in so we have our whole custom functions functionality, which
Hmm.
allows people to build their own custom functions, but we're now realizing that we need to build pre-made functions or pre-made templates or functions that can be built into the platform that are not using the language model's knowledge and using a third-party platform that is quote unquote hard coded in. So
Yeah.
for things like what time is it right now, that might work well in ChatGPT, but when you're using the API in some other time zone or it doesn't have access to your local machines or browser data, it's not going to know that information. So we have to be able to pull that data from somewhere and then give that information to GPT to then process.
Hmm.
And when you have multiple if then statements in a prompt, it will inevitably fail at a certain
Yeah.
point.
I mean, that's the problem. And
Yeah.
our formula is it's so complicated. There's so many if then situations, and we solved the time zone thing by using GMT plus minus and ISO 18601, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Fuck.
All
I
this
should have
fucking
talked to you
bullshit for it. I know,
all this
totally know what
fucking
you're going
bullshit.
through. Yep. We had to
I
do
know.
all
So
that for calendar.
we solved the okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But so we solved the time zone issue, but you still can't solve uh, the duration plus a previous end time because they're incompatible formats. And you can do it in Google Sheets because that's where I built the equation and that's where it's done. So then we
Hmm.
were looking at, okay, how do we parse data from Google Sheets? Because we've already built this out in one of our other features where we're actually controlling the front end display based on the data input from a Google Sheet. So like, okay, how can we do that? But the problem is this isn't a static page. This is user input. So what would happen is every time the user changes the sleep timer, it creates a line in Google Sheets. And you multiply that over thousands of users, the Google Sheet would end up being this like mammoth with millions of lines. And that wouldn't work either. So anyway, we're back to the drawing board with good old hard coding, and I need to find a way to turn a Google Sheet equation with like a gajillion rules into an actual Python equation.
Yeah. How are your engineers able to do research and development on their own?
I want to say yes, but no.
Hmm.
Probably not. The thing is, I have it working. Like I have it working in Google Sheets. I know exactly what it needs to do. There is no R&D. It's functioning
Okay.
exactly the way I want it to, with several use cases, including like users not using the feature properly. I just need to
But
find
you're
a way to
still,
put it
but
into
still
the.
like going from point A of Google Sheets and get it working in there to deployment and production, there's still some questions in between there, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So like for me, when like what I would do is I would assign an engineer to be like, all right, I need you to go and do R&D on that question
Mm,
and figure out, give me your top recommendation of how you think we should implement this with two other, options basically,
hmm
and then run that through speed of development, cost of however that's being done, whether it's,
hmm
some platform API, time of development, like any variables of cost, and then
hmm
quality, like is there any, latency or issues in like those are the three levers that we kind of ask them to look at. And then
Yeah.
most of the time now we're trying to I'm really trying to encourage them individually to like have ownership over these features and be like, this is as good as you're gonna be able to make it. So like, you know, and then it's kind of like it's a reflection on them as an engineer.
hmm
Like if you give me a shit option, which doesn't rarely, that almost never happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, are you still
Yeah.
using
I've
the
been having a
original?
couple problems with our dev team. Just things
Okay.
like missing deadlines, missing
Mm,
key instructions. So yeah, looking to make a switch.
mm. That was gonna be my next question. Are you still using the same guys as the original?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
they've been great up until this point, but recently it kind of fell off. We had a conversation about it, and they took on some like monster accounts that are taking their bandwidth. Like, well, that's fine, but we've sunk like 60 grand into your dev.
Oh,
So
they're doing other projects too?
yeah, I don't have them full time. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's an agency,
Yeah, I mean, most of them are agencies, but I mean, how many hours per week are it like, are what's the
like 30
per person or just total?
total.
Oh, okay. So with our team, that would be a full-time resource
Yeah, yeah,
that is fully dedicated. No other projects,
yeah,
even at 30 hours a week.
yeah. 30 hours a week is a ton on dev time when you think about it for one person. It's like, yeah, 40-hour work week, but this isn't like, going to get a coffee and just like whatever, shooting the shit with Johnny. This is like hardcore dev work. I think 30 hours is a lot for one person to do.
I mean, maybe, but that's why that's their job.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. That's what's up with
Well,
me. Just trying to
let me
deal with a bunch of this shit. And we
let
have
me
like
know
a
if you.
whole new feature set coming down the pipeline. Totally revamped onboarding, updated billing, updated home screen, updated chat screen, fucking updated everything. Everything's looking really good. But yeah, anyway, we're not pausing marketing, but like I haven't been putting a lot of effort into marketing yet because we know that we have fixes to make on our core features and then improvements and new features that are launching. So we're sort of conserving capital, preserving liquidity, you could say, until we have all this sorted out.
I totally get that. Yeah, I've been there. It's tough because like you want to keep pushing forward, but you know that the dollars that go into acquiring those customers, and then if they see those bugs or issues, then you lose them forever. And then
Exactly. Like
like
I might
I
as well
just
just wait a month and get them later.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you see apps that are like complete shit that are just full bore to the fucking four to the floor and
Those are also the apps that have no trial. They're like sign up, pay immediately. The best paywall, the best marketing, and it's just a
yeah.
shit product.
Are you say like there's definitely a trend going on right now with like mobile apps again where and I think it's partly due to all the marketing on that side of where it's like, oh, this 10-year-old just made $50 million, with their AI fucking height app, like help you become taller or something, right? And
Yeah.
app like it's like crazy shiny object, right? But I think the conversations that we've been having, like you start to really see the pros and maybe the cons as well of doing a mobile app versus a web application or something that goes from like lower AOV to higher AOV and LTV over time.
Yeah, well, the rush for mobile apps right now is because has AI has made it easier than ever to build something that's really novel. So there's like cartoonize yourself, track your calories, track your height, figure out how to save your plants, figure out what rash this is. There's so many like photo identify or analyze apps out there that are all powered by ChatGPT. They're all using an AI backend, but they're these super novel ideas, and they're also built on inherent virality and inherent entertainment because it's really easy now to have your video record your phone taking a picture of something in your app interface with the logo at the very top. So it has that inherent virality to it. And what was I going to say? Yeah, and it's entertaining, right? It's like immediately entertaining content. Like you said, just super shiny object syndrome. So I think that's why there's a huge push in especially young developers going into mobile apps because they're easy to produce, basically no technical backend, and they're novel and they're interesting and they're inherently viral.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, looking back at the teach yourself iPhone development in 24 hours, and it's a book that's this fucking thick, and
It's so
blood,
crazy.
sweat, and tears that I put into that book over, a summer in high school trying to figure out how to do this stuff, and now you can do it like in 10 prompts. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's how every developer feels too. They're like, I'm sure they look at their old projects like, I could do this in 25 minutes now. It took me a month.
Yep.
That's life. It's going to keep going that way. So, just got to get used to it.
For sure.
Got
Yeah.
to stay ahead of it.
That's the other thing though, like having what I've started to realize, like vibe coding is great. It gets you most of the way there. But there's I don't think there's anybody that has zero technical experience that is vibe coding a legitimate application that's published and live and has security and scalability.
Legitimate being the key word there, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah, I think
using if you're using Lovable and Cursor and ChatGPT and all these no code tools, doesn't necessarily give you like the stable infrastructure that you need to grow. It also doesn't necessarily mean that you can piece together the code in a way that is functioning, as I'm finding out.
even if you can piece it together to get the code functioning on the front end, when we've done this now, so like the partnership with my engineering team, I've partnered with their dev shop to now do other side projects. Like I'll basically do the sales of the project, and then they have like people are just working with my team essentially, and then we assign engineers that are kind of in the float to these new projects.
Yeah.
And almost every single person has a Lovable or a Bolt or something that they vibe coded up, and they're like, I want to make this into an app. And we're like, great.
Interesting. So it's like the MVP jump off point, basically.
Like they've already done that work. They've already
Yeah.
done the MVP work, and they're like, okay, well, can you turn this into a live production app in 3 days? Because it took me 3 days to vibe code up this UI, right?
Very
And
interesting.
what I've learned and what we've had to explain to people is every single platform is very similar or almost the same in the sense that it can do the front end UI really well, and it can get your ideas out onto paper, so to speak. And then it can do some of the database stuff with connecting to things like Supabase or Airtable, Google Sheets, whatever it may be, like some sort of database system. But it's skipping a middle step, which is the back end. Like the database is not the back end; it's the database. Or maybe it's better as a triangle or a circle. And so what we've had to explain to people is like, look, I totally understand that you built this like super quickly, but what the big piece that's missing is the entire backend infrastructure, where authentication, scalability, security, pretty core pieces of having a piece of technology that is stable. Like that's where all of that is built out. And that is not something that can be done with these vibe coding tools or could be done in 3 days. That takes a couple weeks to get up and running.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because, like you said, everybody's using ChatGPT, they have their API keys just fucking put in somewhere into the code there, which might not be secure in some ways, where somebody could, potentially pull that and run up their bill if they know what they're doing, and you don't have that security for that type of scalability.
Yeah.
App could go down, everything can be taken advantage of and go down.
I mean, it's good to get it off the ground. I think that's like that's the main point. It's good to get your ideas on paper and maybe get proof of concept and like get your MVP, but in terms of building like a larger scalable application, it's probably not what you need.
Well, yeah, but that's exactly what we're seeing with these types of clients. Like once and this is why I think this partnership is working well, is because I was that person a few years ago, and I know how to explain that to that type of person versus like one of my tech leads or engineers who is just, shit's going over people's head.
Yeah.
And once people understand like that concept, it becomes a lot easier to be like, all right, well, we can take your MVP and that will drastically cut down on design and front end UI implementation and UX. But we still have to do this, this other piece. The bulk of the work is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
And that
far,
bulk of
everything's,
work takes a lot longer than just you vibe coding it.
yeah, that could take, yeah, weeks, if not months to get going and be done correctly,
For
where
sure.
we are prepared for scale. Like, and if many of these apps, like you said, have gone viral and get, thousands or tens of thousands of users within a couple days, then the app has to be ready for that. Otherwise, all those problems start
For sure.
arising
Yeah.
and whatever. So,
That's how it goes. Well, I said I was going to do my learning of the week. I gave my learning of the week. What's your, no, you're not doing content recommendation, you're doing product recommendation, right? Sorry, I got to deal with the kids, so I'm wrapping it up.
okay. Product recommendation. Well, I'll do a learning of the week as well. So the most successful thing that we've done has not been something that we've actually added to the application itself, but it's something that we've added to our support opportunities, which is the daily support call with myself and my co-founder Tim every Monday through Friday at 11:30 a.m. PST. It's in the dashboard, it's on our support page, it's in all of our email, it's everywhere. And I realized that we were scared. Like we were like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get blown up every single day. This is gonna be so tough to do." Hasn't happened at all. The same 80-20 rule applies to this, just like everything else, where 80% of the people are not going to take advantage of it, and the 20% of the people that do take advantage of it are going to be like, "Holy shit, I can't believe they're actually doing this and showing up every single day.
Right.
This is so valuable, and I love this company because they have this opportunity for me to just hop in every single day and talk with the founders of the company." And most days we are just sitting there talking with each other and nobody joins.
Interesting. So it's like your own catch-up call, and then occasionally someone will jump on and you can talk to them.
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah.
Like very occasionally. And
That's really interesting.
it's very interesting. It's
So it's
not,
funny you say that because I brought that up to our co-founder Tara, and I'm like, we should host daily office hours, but we should do it on Instagram Live, where people can come
ooh,
on and ask sleep questions, nutrition questions, everything, and we just do a quick one every single day, 15 minutes. We can talk together and we can talk about whatever, how the app's going, what our new features are, like things that we're working on. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's something that we're going to implement when we have the whole new thing rolled out.
1,000% you should do that.
Yeah.
The
That'd be good.
social proof and validation, like it's all there. Like it's all the benefits with maybe a few people joining and answering questions, which are great prompts for you to then have engagement and answers. Like it's
Yeah.
when people do join ours, I'm like, oh, like, hey, like, welcome. Like, please ask us the
Yeah. Yeah.
question, please.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, I'll definitely, I'm excited to check those out once you start doing them.
Yeah. We're going to start that in August when we have our milk feed feature launched.
Nice.
July 18th. That's the deadline. Fingers crossed. We'll
All
see.
right. We'll see.
All right. Thanks for everybody for listening. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. And I'll talk to you guys next week.
Take care, guys.
See ya.